What is going on, everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome back to MX's ATV Legends, where today we're talking about the massive V1.12 update to the game. There is a lot of changes, a lot of things to talk about, so let's kind of jump right into it. I'll give you guys a whole change log here in a little bit, kind of halfway through the video, but we're going to start off by talking about kind of the three, I guess, major improvements, I would say. Number one is a lot of animation and physics changes that I think are for the better. Number two is they finally added some like bike decals and stuff to the game. It's not a lot, but there are some. As you can see on this bike now, there is some actual graphics on the bike, so we'll get into that a little bit. And number three is they updated a lot of the tracks, including adding Fox Raceway 2, which is, of course, an exact replica of the Fox Raceway 2 National. So if you had the season pass and have all the national tracks and everything like that, then now Fox Raceway 2 is also part of that and as deep and as extensive as they could possibly get with it. So that's really cool. I want to apologize, first of all, that I don't have a video out sooner about this. This update is not brand new anymore, like it was dropped last week, but I've been extremely sick for about 2 weeks now, and as you can tell, I'm still kind of nasally, just getting over it, so it's been really difficult to get any content out. But we wanted to talk about this update, give the credit where credit is due, because I feel like Rainbow Studios has made some significant improvements. So for starters, I want to talk about the actual, upgrades they did to the physics, the animations and everything like that to make things better. With the animation side of it, they talked a lot about in this changelog what they did to the rider specifically to make it look a little bit more realistic when charging into corners, the attack position, the position that the leg comes out in the corners. I still feel there's some improvements that we can talk about in the air, but at least on the ground, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing so far. Still way too much sliding in the corners, but aside from the sliding, almost everything else works as it should, in my opinion now. The gravity feel of it is very good. The suspension goes over the bumps very nicely, a lot less bounciness than we've seen in the past, and it does actually soak up the bumps. I feel like rider positioning-wise, he's in pretty good positions for most stuff that you set up for coming into a corner. I think that stuff looks really well polished now. And obviously, as it kind of ties into the air physics side of it, the bike is, I think, heavier than it was before when it comes to what you can do in the air. It's a little bit harder to whip. It's kind of a little bit harder to scrub. But I do think that it's not necessarily a bad improvement, because it makes you kind of double think about how you're going to whip something out there, how you're going to scrub a jump, or maybe how you're just going to do a little like flick scrub or something like that, and really how you maneuver the bike from corner to corner as well. It just kind of makes it, I don't know, feel like flow a little bit better than it had in the past. Of course, like I said, air physics wise, we still need some big overhaul with how the whips look and feel, how the scrubs look and feel, but I do think that it's not that bad when you get the hang of it. It's just that it still looks a little bit weird and clunky, and the rider doesn't exactly go in the same directions. But as a caveat to that, they made some huge improvements with the ground physics and the rider animations of what it looks like on the ground, in my opinion. And they do say in this changelog that there are more coming in following patches when it comes to how the rider reacts and how it moves and stuff like that. So I think we're going to see some more improvements to the air physics over time. But right now, I don't think that this game is really all that bad. It's definitely not as bad as it was on launch day, in my opinion, with the way that things feel and the way that things look. I'm kind of riding like trash right now. I was putting some pretty decent laps together here on Fox Raceway, but this is a marked improvement, in my opinion. It was a long wait. It was well worth the wait now, because we got something that actually feels a little bit more planted, a little bit more seated to the ground. And as long as you're going like kind of the right speed for each corner, you're not going to slide anywhere. The sliding issue is still very persistent, but it's designed in a method to keep you going a certain speed in and out of the corners, which is more realistic, in my opinion. You could turn as hard as you want going 100 miles an hour. You're not going to turn perfectly through an inside rut like that. So you need to be going the speed in which the corner wants you to go for you to be able to lay into that corner. And I feel like it feels really good now with this current update. So I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy with the way that this looks and this feels. And yeah, pretty interested to see where they go from here when it comes to the air physics. So that's enough about the physics talk. Let's jump in, talk about some of the upgrades that they made kind of to the UI, to the graphics and the design aspect of the game, and see what they got. So first off, we're here in the locker. I want to go through the changelog real quick because they have highlights and then they have a bunch more beyond that, but I'm not going to go through more than the highlights. I'm just going to talk about the highlights of the changelog for this V1.12 update. And then you guys as well, will include a link in the description, can go check out all the patch notes for this one because it's very extensive. So they, like I said, overhauled the MX riding animations to produce a more fluid and reactive rider and more grounded bike. Added skin tone selection to the locker menu. So if you go to skin tone now, you can see that you can select various amounts of skin tones. Added graphics kits to MX bikes. We'll get there in a second. Added a simple colorizable seat tall vehicles. We'll get there as well. Added aero helmets. They say there are 3, but I can only find 2. And both of them are the Aviator 3, this black and yellowish one, and then this white one. They added Fox Raceway 2, which we just rode. Updated all 22 AMA Pro Motocross Championship track layouts, and we'll talk about that in a second. Increased the fidelity of the terrain driving experience for all tracks in the 2022 AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Improved strength and general appearance to terrain deformation to all tracks in the 2022 AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Added settings to allow player control of terrain deformation settings for exhibition and online custom events. I'll show you guys that in a second. Improved overall audio mix. Made landing and collision sounds more audible and scale with impacted force. Increased online multiplayer squad size to 16 players. Minor tweaks to suspension and whips to improve behavior and appearance to make each bike feel slightly different. Increased effects during on different surface types that have drying behavior, especially sand and mud. Adjusted speed and shaping of terrain deformation on different surface types. Adjusted weight and power of 252 strokes so they aren't faster than 450Fs. Because as you remember, the 252 strokes were the faster machine to ride, but now it looks like the 450s are the fastest machine, so that's cool. So you've seen all the updates that they have in terms of the locker. Let's go to the garage real quick and talk about some of these updates. So I'm riding the Yamaha because honestly I think the graphics that they included fit the Yamaha the best. The graphics are now on the far right side here under plastics, and so we're using this Red Label Hurricane set. They also of course have the stock graphics. They have this Decor Camo set. They have the Decor Visuals Racer X set. So I don't think you can change the color of those. It's just red and the gray. Then they have this more Decor Visuals Trifecta set. The Factory Effects MXON set, so that's kind of cool to run like a USA-themed bike. And then, of course, the Hurricane set, which I think fits the Yamaha best because it basically has the exact Yamaha look. Now, if you were to go to another bike like the Husqvarna here, and go over to plastics, it is all the same sets. The same camo, the same red and white Racer X set, the same trifecta set, although it's going to match the bike a little bit better. In this case, it's not, blue. It is white and black to match the Husqvarna. Then the same American flag set, and then the exact same look as the Yamaha set on this Husqvarna, but they have the Husqvarna logos instead of Yamaha. So very minimalistic in terms of graphics, but at least they added some. At least there's some improvements there. There's also the talk of the seat and the customized colorable seat. So this is the Yamaha custom color seat, but you can get it on any bike. That's the stock seat that it comes with, but then this is the seat that you can get with custom color. And so when you go to color now, you can go to seat and then pick any color that you want. Like I could run, kind of like a setup like that, I guess. Like for example, I'm going to ride a 2-stroke next, so I'll go over to my Yamaha 2-stroke right here, and under parts, under color, I'll go to the seat. I'll go to the seat color, and I'll run this like kind of golden cookie look, which will match the bike very well. And then voila, you have like a custom seat color too. So I think that's pretty cool that they added a little bit more customization. There's still some more to go, but at least some improvements there. Okay, so I'm going to ride the 2-stroke here on Hangtown so we can show off some of the changes to Hangtown specifically to highlight some of the changes to the Pro Motocross tracks. But I did want to show you in event settings real quick here. You can obviously alter which ghost you have, best, session, or off. But then the deformation is also a setting as well. You could have none, you could have light, medium, strong, or max. I'll leave it on max because that's what I was on. But that just goes to show the deformation settings that they have also added to the game as well. Okay, so here we go. Let's do a couple laps here on Hangtown just to highlight the track changes that they have here and ride the 2-stroke a little bit so you guys can see the difference of riding of style, effect, or whatever on the 2-stroke. Now, what I'll say about the 2-stroke versus the 454-stroke is it's obviously lighter, more flickable, kind of easier to do whips on, I suppose. But it is a little bit slower. I feel like it's a little bit harder to maintain momentum, which is accurate to 2-strokes. So I like that they've kept with a more realistic feeling in that regard. I think that's very, I guess, like the right way to do it with the 2-strokes. And then yeah, flow-wise, like I feel like speed, it's still very good, but definitely not better than the 450. The sounds is pretty much the exact same, so nothing has really changed there. But it's nice to see that they did do some updates to it so that it's not as OP as it was. I mean, the two strokes were, in my opinion, the easiest and best bikes to ride in the game, and it wasn't close. And now it seems like the 450s, almost seems like they made the 450s just way, way better than they were. The two strokes don't feel like any massively different or terrible or anything along those lines. They just don't feel as strong as the 450s do. Like I said, more light and flickable, but less power and less, you know, I guess like kind of just overall speed when it comes to corner speed, when it comes to low RPMs and stuff like that. So good changes in my opinion. I think they've made the right steps with what it's supposed to feel like. Two-stroke versus four-stroke, 250, two-stroke versus 450. I'll play around with some of the other bikes and give you guys maybe a future update video as well. But here's the change to the Hangtown track, which is this new section in the back. They didn't have it in the initial DLC pack because the track used to go obviously to the left side right there. There was like a little roller section and a 90-degree corner and stuff like that they had in 2021 at Hangtown, but 2022 at Hangtown they had that section in the back with the kind of turning wall jump thing into a set of rollers, so they added that. And also some of the other tracks have some updates as well. I'm not going to highlight everything, but you guys can go through and check out some of the AMA tracks yourself if you want. Overall though, very, very solid job by Rainbow Studios here. They did a lot of work in my opinion, a pretty short amount of time. You know, the game's been out a couple months now, and there's been a lot of community feedback coming their way to the point where they've pushed out a lot of patches rather quickly to make sure that they've, you know, met some frustrations. There's still ways to go. There's still some things that they need to do with the air physics. I think there's still a lot of things that they need to update with online, but they've obviously expanded online, made it a little bit better. They've obviously worked hard to improve these tracks to make it, you know, more closely resembling the tracks that they're supposed to resemble. And yeah, I just want to give them credit, because a lot of game developers will make a game, maybe dump a patch or two just to make a couple people happy when it comes to bugs and glitches and then move on. But clearly Rainbow, I think, is in it for the long haul to make this game as good as it possibly can be, to create an atmosphere of the game, that they're going to update it, that they're going to provide a lot of cool things. And on top of that, another thing that, you know, is going to be glossed over but should be talked about is that they did all of this for free. Yes, the season pass when it comes to the tracks, you have to pay for the tracks and stuff like that, but everything else when it comes to the physics upgrades, the adding the graphics to the bikes, adding the new aero helmets, things like that, you know, that's all free. They didn't say like, okay, now we're adding decals to the game, so you have to pay for all of it. No, it's there. They're going to continue to expand on it. I know that for a fact. So that, you know, that's just stuff that's good for the motocross gaming community, to continue to expand this game, to continue to make it better, to continue to listen to fan feedback and make a game that overall I think most of us can be happy playing and happy about. So that's a little bit of an update here on the V1.12 update in MXR's ATV Legends. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions or comments or anything you want to know about this update, please be sure to let me know in the comment section below. I'm happy to discuss and provide any feedback I can, good or bad. And let me know what you guys think, what you guys want to see in the next update with V1.13, and give them some feedback as well to what you like or dislike about the things that they changed in V1.12. I know that they read it, and I know that they'd be happy to hear some more community feedback. So thanks guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.